The movie opens in complete calm, but it doesn't last long. In the middle of the night, Danny Moonstar is suddenly awakened by violent shaking. As if an earthquake is tearing through her home, the walls begin cracking, objects fall, and panic instantly sets in as something unseen begins, destroying everything around her. Danny rushes through the house, calling for her father, her voice filled with fear and confusion. The environment is chaotic, with fire starting to spread and debris blocking her path. She struggles to understand what's happening, making it clear that whatever is happening is beyond their control. His tone is serious and desperate, showing he already knows the danger. He sacrifices his own safety to ensure Danny escapes, pushing her toward the outside. As Danny runs out into the forest, she looks back in horror. The house is completely consumed by flames and destruction. A massive shadowy force moves within the chaos, hinting that this is no normal disaster, but something far more supernatural and terrifying. The house collapses entirely, and Danny watches helplessly as her father is lost inside. The emotional impact hits immediately, leaving her alone and traumatized. This moment defines her guilt and fear, which will later become central to the story. Danny collapses from shock and exhaustion, and everything fades to black. The transition from chaos to silence marks a shift in the story, signaling that her life has permanently changed from this point forward. Danny wakes up restrained in a hospital bed, confused and disoriented. The bright, sterile environment contrasts sharply with the chaos before, creating an eerie sense of calm that doesn't feel safe at all. Dr. Cecilia Reyes introduces herself, speaking in a calm and controlled manner. She explains that Danny is in a facility designed for people like her, suggesting that Danny has abilities she doesn't yet understand. Danny panics and demands answers, insisting she doesn't have powers. Her confusion and denial show how unprepared she is for what's happening, while Dr. Reyes remains composed, clearly hiding more than she reveals. Dr. Reyes explains that Danny is the only survivor of the incident, implying that something about her is responsible. This plants the first seed of doubt in Danny's mind, making her question her own role in her father's death. Danny is introduced to the facility rules, including the fact that she cannot leave. The calm explanation feels more like a warning than reassurance, hinting that this place is less about help and more about containment. Danny meets Sam Guthrie, who tries to be friendly and welcoming. His awkward kindness provides a brief sense of comfort, showing that not everyone in the facility is hostile. Roberto da Costa appears more confident but clearly carries emotional weight. Ron Sinclair is quiet and reserved, immediately showing a gentler personality. She connects with Danny more emotionally, offering subtle support without saying much. Ileana Rasputin enters with a completely different energy, mocking Danny and asserting dominance. Her as the most intimidating person in the group, Ileana calls Danny names and belittles her, testing her emotionally. This moment highlights Danny's vulnerability and Ileana's aggressive nature. Danny is left confused about the group dynamic, realizing that everyone here is dealing with something heavy. Sam explains his powers and how they first appeared in a tragic accident. His story reveals that losing control can have deadly consequences, describing how his powers caused harm to someone he loved. Ron's backstory reveals abuse and strict control. Ileana refuses to fully explain her past but hints at something darker, making her more mysterious. Her refusal creates intrigue and tension. Danny begins to realize that everyone's powers are tied to painful memories. This connection becomes important later when fears manifest physically. Dr. Reyes assigns Ileana to show Danny around, clearly trusting her despite her behavior. This decision feels questionable and adds to the unease. Ileana reluctantly takes Danny outside, showing her the open surroundings. At first, it looks like freedom is possible. Danny feels hopeful seeing no fences, thinking escape might be easy. Ileana reveals the truth that there are no physical barriers because something invisible prevents escape. Her tone makes it clear that many have tried before. Danny ignores the warning and runs toward freedom anyway, driven by desperation rather than logic. She slams into an invisible force field, violently thrown back. The impact is shocking and confirms she is truly trapped. The pain and humiliation trigger anger, and Danny lashes out at Ileana in frustration. Ileana easily dodges and mocks her, reinforcing her superiority and making Danny feel even weaker. Danny returns inside, emotionally shaken and more isolated than before. The reality of her situation begins to sink in. She starts experiencing flashbacks of her father's death, replaying the trauma repeatedly in her mind. The guilt grows stronger, and Danny begins blaming herself for everything that happened. Her mental state deteriorates, showing signs of depression and hopelessness. Danny walks out alone, unable to handle the emotional weight. She climbs the clock tower slowly, each step representing her struggle. At the top, she looks down, overwhelmed and ready to end her life. Ron appears and gently talks to her, offering understanding instead of judgment. Danny opens up emotionally, sharing her pain for the first time. Danny steps back from the edge, choosing to live despite her pain. Soon, everyone starts seeing their worst fears. Sam relives the mine collapse repeatedly. Roberto sees his girlfriend burning again. Ron sees her abusive past returning. Ileana is hunted by terrifying creatures from her childhood. The group realizes these aren't hallucinations. Ileana begins suspecting Danny is the cause. She confronts Danny aggressively. Danny denies it but starts doubting herself. Dr. Reyes secretly communicates with superiors. She reveals the facility is a testing site. Mutants are studied and eliminated if necessary. As Dr. Reyes finishes her report, her tone shifts into something far colder and more calculated, making it clear that Danny is not just another patient but a high-risk subject being closely monitored. She explains that Danny's abilities are still developing, yet the early signs suggest she could surpass everyone else in terms of destructive potential. Tension continues to rise as strange and unexplained events escalate around them. Objects begin moving on their own. Shadows stretch unnaturally across the walls. Ileana wastes no time confirming that fear, confronting Danny harshly in front of everyone and accusing her of being the source of everything going wrong. Her words cut deep, labeling Danny as dangerous and unstable, pushing her further into self-doubt. The group begins to realize that running away only strengthens whatever is happening. Ileana shifts her strategy, choosing to confront her fears head-on and use her powers more aggressively, marking a turning point in her character. Ron refuses to give up on Danny and sets out to find her. The ground begins to shake violently, signaling that something far greater is about to emerge. A massive shadow forms, towering over everything they have seen so far, making the atmosphere feel unbearably heavy. Then the true threat reveals itself as the demon bear emerges, enormous and terrifying, embodying not just physical power but Danny's deepest trauma brought to life. The group instantly understands that this is not something they can outrun or ignore. For the first time, they must truly fight together or face complete destruction. Sam launches himself at the creature with full force. Roberto unleashes intense flames. Ron attacks with speed and ferocity, and Ileana uses her full abilities, opening portals and summoning Lockheed. Despite their combined strength, nothing seems to work, as the demon bear remains overwhelmingly powerful, making it clear that brute force alone cannot defeat it. From a distance, Danny watches and realizes something crucial. The creature is not acting randomly but is directly connected to her emotions, feeding off her fear. She understands that resisting it physically only makes it stronger. With this realization, she begins walking toward the demon bear, ignoring the chaos around her. The others watch in confusion and fear as she approaches the creature without hesitation. When it turns its full attention toward her, the tension reaches its peak, yet Danny does not stop. Instead of fighting, she stands still and faces it, symbolizing her decision to stop running from her past. She acknowledges her pain, her guilt, and the loss of her father, finally accepting that his death was not entirely her fault. As her mindset changes, the demon bear begins to weaken, its form destabilizing and shrinking. The others watch in disbelief as the battle they could not win physically is resolved emotionally. The creature continues to shrink until it disappears completely, leaving behind an almost surreal silence. With the threat gone, the facility stabilizes, the destruction halts, and the environment slowly returns to normal. The invisible force field surrounding them collapses, signaling their freedom, while Dr. Reyes loses all control, her authority completely stripped away. The group regathers, exhausted but alive, standing together with a newfound sense of unity that did not exist before. They reflect on everything they have endured, realizing that their powers do not have to define them as something dangerous or broken. Trust begins to replace the fear and division that once separated them, creating a bond forged through shared struggle and survival. Instead of going their separate ways, they make the decision to stay together, understanding that their strength lies in unity rather than isolation.